As far as poetry, where do I get inspiration from? Wow, that's kind of like a time capsule question because growing up in New York City, my inspiration for poetry specifically came from the contrast of moving from Upper Harlem to Upper Manhattan, right before 110th Street, to be able to see the contrast of those two environments. You understand, where you're living up in Harlem and there's the abandoned buildings and dope fiends and shit, and crackheads, drug addicts everywhere, burning buildings, and then you move down to like upper 103rd Street and Columbus Avenue, you understand? And you're still in the projects, but it's kind of strange because you got rich white people living right next door, like Will Chamberlain, different type of celebrities having buildings in these condominiums, so you kind of like get a taste of this. There's more than life than what you really think life is about growing up in New York City. A lot of that was my inspiration for writing poetry because it was like, wow. I remember crossing the street running into the original guy who played Batman, going to, junior high school, and the original Batman was finished jogging, and I'm like, damn, you live in this neighborhood? So shit like that would influence me to write poetry, and then come home from school and see a crackhead or a dope fiend ODing, all of that shit mixed up, just living in New York City, filthy but beautiful at the same time environment. I got a lot of inspiration from that. Like I said, it's like a time capsule. That was the sprout of writing. And then today, in 2017, and in the last, I would say, 15 years, my inspiration came from different sources. A lot of travels, love, actually, just loving other people and hope that they will love me back. I think that was good because showing other people love allowed them to show me love back, and that allowed me to write. When you got niggas trying to get, rid of 50 grams, and this nigga trying to do this, but they showing you love through the process of you trying to get rid of your 50 grams. That's street love, and you can't buy that shit. So when you apply it to life itself, that inspired me a lot to write. You understand? When I was meeting people who were in different businesses, and they didn't give a fuck if I was a foster kid or I was some nigga selling crack on the street, but I was educated, trying to go to school, trying to get away from that. That relationship would allow me to write. You understand? Go home and write a journal about how I felt that night about meeting someone new who didn't come from that environment. Not everybody came from the ghetto that I met, so being in environments with people who didn't come from the ghetto inspired me to write too. And like I said today, traveling, not everybody from Harlem, New York City is going to be able to go to the South Atoll in the Maldives. For fucking God's sakes, Puff Daddy might not even know where the South Atoll is at in the Maldives. So, everybody, each is his own to his own life. My inspiration comes from a lot of different sources. Today, my kids, my two children give me so much inspiration, going out with them, flying kites, you understand? I'm from the hood, you understand? So doing the most quote unquote awkward things that some people would not take time up to think that they don't have time to do, I'm going to take time out of my day to make sure I have time to do it. And I think that's kind of like, I'm young, and I'm getting older, so I want to stay young. And I think staying inspired, you understand, keeps me young too, you understand. I'm not inspired by people too much, you understand. I'm more inspired by now energy. Where do I go, you understand, for peace of mind? Do I find peace of mind at home, or do I find peace of mind in the street? That's how I find my inspiration. I find my inspiration more looking at my daughter's faces and my wife's face, and then going out hugging fucking trees in the middle of the forest in Switzerland because I come from Harlem, New York City, rather than finding inspiration in a legendary person. They've already given me inspiration before. You understand? Now my inspiration comes from the natural things. I find it more healthy to find inspiration in natural elements than rather finding inspiration in other human beings. It's different if I listen to Miles Davis. I can't meet Miles Davis and get inspired by a conversation from Miles Davis, but I can get inspired by those octaves, that he'll hit, shit like that. That's not natural, That's natural, but at the same time, it's not natural. I can't get inspired by listening, by meeting another individual. I'll most likely get more inspired by natural things that'll make me right, that'll say shit, fucking cooking a good meal for my kids might make me write a whole new book, you understand? So it's different things, that where I get my sources of inspiration from. That's a whole nother topic in itself.